Welcome to Extremely Valid Points.
We are three business owners and friends who enjoy practical, real-life discussions about business, marketing, and creativity.
Your hosts are Nathan and Jenny Sala, the owners of World Light Media, a digital marketing agency focused on helping organizations grow through online leads.
And Dave Wilkins, the owner of Ellipsis Production Co., a video production company that specializes in creating meaningful content for businesses and nonprofits.
We hope you enjoy today's episode. And along the way, we just might happen to make some extremely valid points.
Welcome to Extremely Valid Points. We're so glad you decided to join us today. Today we have a special guest with us, Lawrence Garcia. Lawrence is a friend of mine and a businessman in the, I say Fresno community, but also he has businesses throughout the country. The one that probably most people around here would know him for is Ameriguard Security. So thanks for joining us today, Lawrence.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to, I'm just happy to share the story and build our friendship and working relationships with you guys. So thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your companies?
I'd be happy to tell you about Ameriguard is probably my primary company right now. We are a security guard. We're a defense contractor, which we provide security guard services to the military and government facilities. Locally, we also do security that you would see around town, such as shopping centers, movie theaters, that type of stuff. That's probably only about 5% of my business, though. The rest of our business is guarding military bases. As you pull up to a military base, it's my officers that will interact with you. If you're a military person and you're supposed to be there, come right in. If you're not, they direct you to different ways. If you're a visitor or you're delivering goods to the military base, they will channel you to the various gates that accommodate what you're doing.
Very cool.
And we're doing that. We're in 8 states, providing those services throughout the country. Have about 600 employees doing that type of service for our government and for our military bases as well.
Wow. Yeah, I always assumed that would just be done by the military and themselves, but they contract with you then.
Yeah, back in the 80s, moms and dads were not sending their children to the military anymore. Same with law enforcement. These types of industries have a very low, the lowest turnout than they've had in memory. So what they've tried to do is find the different types of services that military bases and government facilities use on a day-to-day basis. Stuff like the lawn service, throughout the base. Stuff like painting, small doors, making, just various things. The commissary, feeding the people on the base. And security is one of those categories that they subbed out to trusted vendors like myself. And it allows their military people to not be doing those types of stuff, putting them in on the ships, on the front lines, in different places where they're needed more so than in the commissary or guarding the building itself, the base itself.
How did you end up doing that? How did you fall into finding this niche?
That's a great question. When I first got into the security business, we were here in Fresno, and I noticed that everybody was fighting over like dimes. These guys were fighting over a shopping center that was needed security, and it's like there's too many hands in the bucket. I'm like, we're not making any good money. We're not able to differentiate ourselves like we want to. And I just thought, it was low pain. It's like we're not guarding bars and nightclubs and that kind of stuff. There's got to be something more out there. And I'm former military, so I just reached into the veteran. The Veteran Association of the vets, trying to find out where we can place these vets and give them different types of jobs and stuff like that. And I discovered, wait a minute, we can bid on jobs. Wait a minute, we can do military base. And I just thought, wow, this is a full lane that we never went down. So I just started going to the different various agencies and saying, hey, we're how can we do security for you guys? I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was former military. I was in the Navy, and when I got out of the Navy, we just started working on military bases and that. And next thing you know, they started opening up some doors for us, and then 9/11 hit. This is back in 2000, but then when 9/11 hit, it really changed everything about security. Military bases that didn't have security now want security. Government buildings that didn't have officers, now they want officers. And then the places that we had officers, now they wanted 2 or 3 officers. Mm-hmm. So, in a very fast time, we were our services were very sought after. I didn't have enough employees at the time. It was just very hard to get employees for that level of security. Now, the officers that we employ for our military bases, their starting pay is about $70,000 a year, and that's a good wage that's more than even some police departments, throughout the country, in terms of a starting pay for these officers. And what we like to do is bring in the officers, hire officers that are either just got out of the military, or even police cadet students that just finished the academy. A lot of those guys don't go straight into a job, but this level of pay and this level of security is a very nice medium point for them if they're trying to get into a department, or if they're retiring. This is still a good pay, and it's allowing them to still utilize their military training for some of the different places we guard.
So I think our audience would love to hear your story about, you talked a little bit about how you were in the Navy. How did you end up owning Ameriguard Security?
Well, that's a good one. I joined the military as an 18-year-old boy, and I was a firefighter in the military. I did 4 years as a firefighter, but also during that time we went to the Gulf War, so I am a veteran, a Gulf War veteran. And
thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I got out of the military, I became a firefighter as well. I was a firefighter there, became a firefighter in the civilian sector. Was a firefighter for about 8 years. And then I started working for American Ambulance, a local ambulance company here in Fresno. Went to paramedic school through American Ambulance. And then I worked in Valley Children's in the ER for about 4 years. And then during that time, I wanted to go to the police academy. My dad and my family was like, "Are you crazy? Why you want to go to? You already had a career. What you've already done. Yeah, you're already. What are you doing?
Right."
And my dad would tease me that it's like, "Why do you want to be a police officer? Firemen get all the women. Firemen get all the. Are you crazy?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to.
Did you pose for any calendars?
No, nobody asked me to. And I went to the police academy. I had to do the night academy because I had a job. Some people can go through the full day academy, but the night academy makes the training long. It's like 3 times as long as the time as it would take. But I had a son, and I had a home and other jobs, so I couldn't go just full-time academy. But anyway, I went through the academy, and the sheriff's department offered me a position. 2 weeks before I graduated, they offered me a position, and I was on my way to take that position, but my father passed away at the early age of 52, and he had a security company. And I decided in about a 12-hour thought process, I said, you know what, my father's business, his legacy, if you will, was hanging in right out there for, whatever. We were going to either close the business, or I decided, I said, Mom, I guess I'm going to try to be a business owner, And the thing is my father had a few businesses, and we always intended that I would go to college at some point to take business management or some kind of courses. But my dad's thing was go be a fireman, do your thing, and later down in your life, go to college, and we'll hand over these businesses to you, to pass them down to his son. And that was the intent, but life changed for my father and my family in one night, and by the next morning, I said, I'm just going to run a business. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the licenses. I didn't have the degrees that I needed. But I said, I'm not going to allow this business to fail. I stopped what I was doing and bought my first suit and went to my dad's existing clients. And I said, hey, listen, if you give me a chance to provide this, continue with the security, I'll provide you at least the same service, if not better, than what you had already. And I started just one client at a time, and that's how I got into the business. My story of becoming a business owner is unique in that matter, and I wouldn't ask. I didn't want anybody to lose their family members to start a business, but that was my story. And I took over his company in 2000. He had about 12 or 14 employees, and since then we've grown it to as many as, at one point, probably 900 employees at one point. But
Wow.
now it's about 600 in 8 states.
That's incredible. So how does a person who has zero business leadership experience take a company and grow it to 900 employees? I imagine your military background, or maybe your ER background, or maybe your firefighter background maybe contributed to give you some of the skills. But talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me that question a lot, and I just tell them that, the things I've learned in the military in terms of leadership, in terms of organization, in terms of management, not only managing myself, but managing other people in a supervisorial type of setting. What I tell people is, in all my companies, you can pull back the layers and you'll find about, maybe 10 different things that are common in all my companies. And it has to do with chain of command. It has to do with leadership things. And, and it doesn't matter what the business is. You run a hot dog stand, all the way up to a security company. It doesn't matter. The DNA in each of those businesses are all from the same spot. And I attribute that to my military background. I attribute that to my the training I've had as a firefighter, law enforcement, and then even being compassionate, having empathy for people. I mean, I learned that in my as a firefighter, also in working at Valley Children's in the ER. Fantastic place to work, and a fantastic place to discover even yourself. And I couldn't have gotten that training from anywhere else, besides living it myself. This is not something you learn in school. They don't teach this in college.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that too, as you guys were talking about that, this background where you are in, difficult situations, right? Traumatic, potentially traumatic and stressful situations. And business in a different way can oftentimes be stressful. And, you may think like, boy, this is a very critical time, right? Things are going really well, and then something happens. You get sued, or you lose a bunch of customers, or whatever it is, right? And you have to be able to not panic, but say, okay, what's the next step? How do we, right, take care of this?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because when going back to my military and fireman thing, when everybody's rushing out, we're going towards the situation. When everybody is screaming and hollering, we're level-headed. When everybody just has nowhere to go, it's people that have the the ability to filter through this, go immediately to the problem,
Yeah.
and find a solution. When nobody, I always say, I'm a fantastic team player, but if you need me to step up and be an individual, I'm the first one to do it. And I just think that approach and that desire to help, desire to fix a wrong, I think that's really where one of the things that I do that shines amongst the other people that I'm either working with, or when everybody's freaking out. It's like, what do we do? Find out. I have a solution. I'll step up and do this or do that, and that's just what I've been doing the whole time. But I don't do this by myself. I mean, there is a huge group of people around me, my team, my staff, my team is incredible. I paint the picture. I I make it so vivid that they can see it. And I say, how do we get there? How do you help me get there? And I noticed that when you give people the ability to utilize their own thoughts, when you give people the ability to say, oh, in my life experiences, I did this and I can apply that to this situation right now, you will discover that people have great input. I'm not the only one with all the decisions. We have a team approach, and when we're trying to address a situation, we kind of go with the team's approach. What did we all come up with, and if we can't make a decision, then I'll make a decision for the team that usually will get the job done.
Wow, yeah, that's great. So I imagine that's probably helpful in retention of customer staff, if they feel like they can make a difference and can contribute there, right?
Yeah, they really love that. I mean, it's nice to be able to highlight some of the things that they've added or comment, even if you're writing a letter, it's, oh, that was my one-liner I put in that letter. That really helped us get that client or something.
Right.
And it's cool to include everybody like that. And I like to do that. Any chance I can get, I will do that.
I love that. And I love how you said, you tell people, this is the vision. This is where we're going. This is what I want to achieve. And then you give them the opportunity to buy into that vision and that dream.
And contribute
And figure out how they can help get there. Mm-hmm. And you need them to help you get there. But they also are there's a mutual trust there. They're saying, I care about your vision. And they kind of take it on as their own, right?
Yeah.
But then they have the ideas and the skills and the talent to help get you there, because you can't get there on your own.
Exactly. It's a team effort. And I like to tell people at my office, it's like, we're a soccer team. I don't like to be called the boss at the office. Don't call me the boss.
They call you coach?
No, not even the coach. I'm on the team. I'm in the trenches with them.
What position you play?
That's my thing. I mean, if I'm the goalie, then I'm the goalie. If I'm the forward, then I'm forward. Or right wing. It doesn't matter. But every position needs to be filled. And I always tell these people, listen, if you're doing your job, then we can all do our job, and vice versa. And I like to come through at another angle too, as I tell everybody, we're a soccer team. And the management of this team knows that wherever the ball is, we know what that person's supposed to do. Like, say the ball goes to you as a right wing, we know we got to be somewhere over here to receive a pass or get a rebound if he makes a shot. But the point I'm trying to make is that the goalie knows what the right wing has to do. The forward knows what the fullback is doing. Mm-hmm. The ball is the situation. The ball is whatever comes through our door that day. That's the ball. And how we handle that ball is how we pass it amongst each other. Or take that direct shot.
Love it.
And that's kind of what I try to teach my people at the office and my employees.
Have you ever played soccer or do you coach soccer?
I played soccer for a very long time, including indoor soccer as an adult.
Oh, wow.
So I really like soccer.
Awesome. I think that's great. I think everything that you're saying, there's a lot of correlation, from, we've heard stories in this room on this podcast from a lot of very successful people who are saying the exact same thing. You empower your people. It is a team effort. And the one thing that I'm really excited about hearing a lot of is the empathy component that you mentioned, where it feels like there's kind of an emotional revolution happening in our country where people are just kind of starting to get this empathy thing because, back in the 1940s, 1950s, emotions were discounted, if not even,
You're supposed to hide them.
Yeah, you're supposed to hide them. Definitely don't allow people to know you have feelings.
Vulnerabilities, yeah. Don't let anybody know you're vulnerable.
Right. And then to now, we realize, especially as in the marketing world, people don't make their buying decisions off of, logical, concrete ideas.
Facts.
Yeah. They actually make their decisions based on really deeper emotional decisions. Mm-hmm. And so this whole empathy thing that you mentioned is really intriguing to me because when you think about security, when you think about military, there's not a lot of latitude to have empathy there. So talk about how empathy helps you, help us understand. We see it as like, okay, I'm a guard. I'm protecting this place. I'm protecting the people. I'm protecting the assets. I'm protecting valuable things. You know, if any danger comes, it's got to get through me first, and that's not going to happen, not today. And so talk about how empathy impacts what you do and how you use it to make your company better, help serve your clients, and make your team better.
Well, I think what I think about when you say empathy and relating it to some of our clients, you know, think about a regular residential home where a single mother is there, has 2-3 kids with her, and she's gone through a terrible situation, maybe a divorce or something, maybe the loss of a husband or something, and that house that they live in might not be in the best side of town. You know, you have a struggling mother who needs her children and herself need that peace of mind at night, knowing that they can sleep at night safe, warm, and not worried about someone maybe knocking on the door at an inappropriate time at night, or someone breaking in when they're gone and having to come home to already a tough life, a tough situation, and now their house has been broken into. Giving these situations of a single mother the ability to look up at a monitor and see the perimeter of her house, somebody at the front door, teach the kids, you don't have to open that door. If you don't know who that person is at the front door, you don't have to open the door. And giving them the ability to view that front door or view the perimeter of their house, or have the ability to turn on and off the alarm system while they're away. And the other one that I like too is when the kids come home from school, if we know that at 3 o'clock that door should be beeping, and I can sit at my desk and know that I get a notification, the door opened, I can look at my clock, oh, that's my children, they're coming home, they're safe where they need to be. Giving moms and dads, business owners, the ability to see these, what I call secure conveniences, on your phone or at your computer. I think that contributes to peace of mind, but I also think it's what we all deserve as a husband and a wife and a single mother, or even a business owner, knowing that your gear and your equipment and your materials that you use to make your livelihood is still there when you're away. I think that's important to me, and I think that's important to other people as well.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that. It feels like a very human approach. You know, like you talk about the way you work with your employees, and you know how you appreciate them and value them, and then the services that you provide in the same capacity. It's more than just, you know, a transaction. You're providing a peace of mind for people that you care about, for human beings who have these needs, which needs are safety, but it's also that emotional security type of thing.
Yeah.
And I love that you see your clients that way, that you see that, you know, the trouble they already might be experiencing in life, you know, the adversity they face, and how the service that you offer can, you know, lessen that adversity a little bit.
Yeah, I think about my mom, who, again, lost my father. She has a very nice home that I want to make sure that when she hears a noise at night, you know, she can easily look at a TV monitor and see that maybe it's a loud car passing by or something like that. I don't want her to feel unsafe. I don't want her to feel like I can't tell what's going on around me, and give her that minutes or seconds that she might need to call for help if necessary. And I just think that everybody wants that. I think everybody needs that in their day-to-day. And I also notice that when people that finally have I get it all the time. I get people that get our alarm system or our camera system put in. I had a client just yesterday tell me, Lawrence, thank you for installing that camera system at my house. He says, the funny thing is, my wife watches the cameras now more than she watches TV. She's like, she can watch me walk all over the house. And he goes, it's great. If I fall down, she'll be able to see me now. And he's like, I do more stuff outside now. And she watches the monitor. She monitors the neighbors' cats coming by. She's like watching it at all times. I'm like, so it's nice to give those people the ability to do that.
Yeah, and it strikes me too that you're not really selling equipment, right? You're selling peace of mind. You're selling security, because the technology is going to change and grow and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, and one of the biggest differentiators for my company opposed to anybody else's is We like to let everybody know that not only you can buy an alarm system, for example, or even a camera system. Most people know ADT, largest company in the United States. The difference between ADT and us is that ADT doesn't have the ability to send a guard service to your location. We have about a 4 to 7 minute response time within the city limits. So if you have our system, if you have our cameras, or you have our alarm system, you could be sitting on the beach in San Diego and look at your wife, say, "Honey, who's this? Did you recognize this car here?" And it's an odd car. Looks like a suspicious vehicle in your yard. And the ability to say, "Hey, let's send a guard over there and check this out," is the advantage that we have. Because we have the guard service and the alarm service, you put those two together, and it's the combination that is necessary. Because you can have an ADT alarm going off, and you can even have their camera system and watch them stealing your stuff, but what they're going to do is call 911. And in most cities, in any town, USA, law enforcement responding to a burglar alarm might result in about a 12 or 10-hour response, if even that.
Yeah.
So you can sit there and watch someone break into your house and steal all of your things and ruin your home, and all you can do is watch.
All you can do
and
is
there's
watch.
nothing you can do about it.
You might be
if
able to
you're
call
far
a
away.
neighbor. You might be able to call another family member, but you put a family member in that setting. Think about it this way. One of the other things is, it could be 3 a.m, and when the alarm system here would go off, that would mean one of you would have to get up, go down to the place, because if you call Fresno PD, they're not going to necessarily send somebody over there. Now, if you say there was a gun or something involved, they're there fast, not to take anything away from our
they have to prioritize.
Yeah,
Right.
And it becomes a priority 6, and priority 6s result in either a community service officer or go online and fill out the report yourself. Do you remember the days when a car got broke into and they would come in dust? They don't even do that anymore.
No.
So going back to the ability to have a guard service come out, I mean, it's scary for even a grown man to show up at this building at 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't know what you're going to come across,
Right.
But much less send a female, send a family member that shouldn't be in this setting, is just dangerous. So what we do is our officers are armed. Our officers have arresting capabilities, so we get there within a 4 to 7 minute window of time. We can at least be a witness. We can at least get a description, maybe a license plate.
Your officers are trained to know all the stuff that they need to know.
100%. Our vehicles even have camera systems inside of our cars. So what we want to do is we want to point our car towards the threat, whether that's the front door of this building, we're using it as an example. We would park the vehicle in that setting, try to use the vehicle camera to not only be our backup and our witness, but also maybe get a license plate or a description. And if we can make an arrest, if we actually catch somebody, we can actually handcuff and detain until law enforcement gets there. But
Tell me about that. You said your officers have arresting capabilities. How do you get arresting Can I arrest anybody?
well, actually, you can. In your situation, you would call that a citizen's arrest.
Okay.
But going back to my officers, a lot of them are either former military or former law enforcement. PC 832 is a certification that you get that allows for that kind of stuff. So there is training that you can take. Mostly it's in law enforcement or security training, but I guess anybody can actually take it, I guess. But once you have that certification under your belt, it shows that you have the ability to arrest, detain, and there's handcuffing procedures and that kind of stuff. But yeah, anybody actually can do it, including citizens can also do it as a citizen's arrest.
Jenny, I think you should get certified in that. I mean, just saying. You never know when you're going to need something like that.
Lawrence, you think you could help me out with that?
It might change your career course.
No, we'll just hire Ameriguard, and we'll leave it to the experts.
Yeah.
Good. That's one less thing I have to put on my to-do list now.
Yeah.
So this has been a great conversation. We definitely have a lot more to talk about. So join us next week for part 2, and we're going to continue this conversation because a little bird told me that you're actually an inventor as well. Is that true?
That's true.
So tune in next week. We're going to hear about this invention. I promise you are going to want to stay tuned. Lawrence, before we go, can you tell people how they can contact you? What's the best way to get a hold of Ameriguard?
Sure. Obviously, go to our website, Ameriguardsecurity.com. There you can learn about several different things that we do, background investigations, alarms, cameras, home automation, and then, of course, armed response and alarm installations. So Ameriguardsecurity.com, and you can contact us if you've made a phone call at 559-271-5984 is the main office. So thank you. I look forward to talking to you.
Great. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for spending time with us at Extremely Valid Points Podcast. To learn more about this episode, see our show notes at extremelyvalidpoints.com. Be sure and subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram at EVP_podcast.
If you need help with your video for your business or nonprofit, connect with Dave at ellipsispro.co.
And if you need help with digital marketing, Nathan and Jenny can be found at worldlightmedia.com.
Or feel free to send us an email at questions@extremelyvalidpoints.com. Thanks again for joining us. See you next time.